I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good morning, Moines County Board of Supervisors, Tuesday, October 1st, 2024. Are there any changes to the agenda?
I have none.
We have an agenda. I will beg your indulgence once again for my ongoing pronunciation problems. Hopefully it will be over in a couple of months. Meet with department heads and elected officials. Cheryl McVeigh, Moines County Auditor's Office.
Good morning. We're busy, getting a lot of requests in for absentee ballots and voter registration forms, so we're staying out of trouble.
That's good.
Yeah.
Thank you, Cheryl. Colin Gerst, IT.
Good morning. Just keeping busy like always. Nothing really new to report.
Thank you, Colin. Kevin Glendenning, Des Moines County Sheriff.
Good morning. Yesterday we finalized our promotional process to the Civil Service Commission. They did interviews of our, we had 7 applicants, 7 current deputies put in for the promotional list for lieutenant and sergeant, and wrapped up those interviews. Sue Pulling in the auditor's office is their clerk, so appreciate her help, and the Civil Service Commission members, and appreciate all their time. So all 7 of those that put in for those promotions for the different positions of sergeant and lieutenant were placed on that eligibility list. So we have that for the future. No immediate promotions in the foreseeable future, but it's kind of a housekeeping item. It's good for 2 years, so we are ready to go if needed. Other than that, we have a whole lot of things going on, lots of projects moving forward, but really no major news for the board on the law enforcement side. The jail's full, 110, 111 this morning, 7 were in intake. We're trying to find room for people, and we're working with those entities constantly, but there's 8 on the list for the residential facility, 4 on the list for treatment, 4 on the list for prison. Hopefully those going to prison, we should be able to move this Friday. We have one for sure confirmed, but the other 2 others we're trying to get going with them. So just looking for room for the inmates that are ready to move out of our care.
How many have you got out of county?
30.
30. Thank you, Kevin.
Yes, sir.
Rodney Gleason, Maintenance Director.
Good morning. Just a lot going on. Starting to get prepared for the winter coming up, and we're a week away from the ribbon cutting there at the health department. So there's lots of details and cleanup and different things going on out there to try and get that ready and then get prepared for the move and all that. So yeah, just lots of things going on. Other than that, nothing new to report.
Thank you, Rodney. Jared Lasser, Land Use.
Well, land use, we've been keeping pretty busy this week. I have a number of new inquiries and things going on with zoning and all that. Nothing major though. I did switching hats to regional planning. I just wanted to give a quick PSA here. There's the DOT is going to be holding a public hearing, a meeting at the in Wapello about the last phase of the Highway 61 4-lane project. Basically between Newport and Grandview, so that being in a neighboring county, if anybody has any interest in the details about the scope of that project, that meeting is tonight in Wapello. So
What time and where, Jared?
it's it's at the Civic Center. At the open house is at 5, and then there's a formal presentation at 6. So.
Thank you, Jared. Chris Lee, Conservation Director.
Good morning. Let's see, all sorts of stuff going on. I want to note that hunting seasons are open and opening. Today's the opening day of bow season, archery season, and so there'll be increasingly more hunters out in our conservation areas. So just we've never really had any issues, and hunters are a very safe bunch. But just note that if you're gonna be out hiking the trails or whatever, that there's likely to be some different user groups in the conservation areas. for the remainder of the fall season, so that's great. We encourage hunters to get out there and take somebody new with them, especially young ones. Yesterday had a good work session with our board and City of West Burlington. I think it's really great how the two cities are really coming together to look for co-efficiencies there. They've got some co-opted projects going on. This discussion yesterday was about some of the flooding issues that West Burlington has seen. A large portion of their city drains into Isaac Walton Lake. We've been talking about that as a board for, gosh, a year or two now, as to what that dynamic is. And so West Burlington's got an engineer firm hired to do some hydrology studies and stuff. And so we'll be part of that discussion going forward, and we'll try to keep you appraised of what's going on there. I think, if anything, this is a fantastic opportunity for us to maybe do something with that lake. It's a potentially really great spot for a public fishing area. It just hasn't really gotten a lot of attention, and so there's some issues there for sure, some environmental issues. It's got some heavy metals and industrial stuff at the bottom of it, but maybe we can remedy that through some of this process. I don't know. Hard to say what the future holds, and it certainly won't be a fast process, but potentially an opportunity that's coming our way to do some good stuff for the community here. Other than that, we've got a hike park, I believe, tomorrow, or no, Thursday, and then board meeting tomorrow. And yeah, we're just kind of working behind the scenes, looking at different ways of generating more revenue and cutting costs for future budget years. The Shooting Range Advisory Committee tomorrow at the board meeting will be recommending a fee increase for the shooting range fees, among some other stuff. So I think that's about it on the top of my mind right now.
Thank you, Chris.
Yeah.
Talk about hunting season, somebody got one of your in-laws a deer this morning, so,
Oh, really?
yeah.
Oh. If it wasn't one of those big ones. Okay. Well, they could use a few less, honestly.
Janelle Nally Longquist, Moines County Treasurer.
Good morning. We're keeping busy. Nothing new to report. Do have an agenda item, but yeah, we're just busy. Lots of mail.
Thank you, Janelle. Shannon Prado, Emergency Management Coordinator.
I'm the same, I've just been staying very busy. I did want to touch on the disaster relief grant program. So I did speak with Community Action last week. There's still 143 applications in review, 28 have been approved. Approximately $9,000 has been given back in food assistance, approximately $11,000 for home repair, and approximately $1.2 thousand in personal property assistance. So money is starting to move for that program. Like I said, there's still a whole bunch in review, so hopefully we'll see a lot of those move and to be approved.
Thank you, Shannon. Krista Poggemiller, Local Health.
Good morning. We're keeping busy, as Ronnie mentioned. Next week is our ribbon cutting for the new public health building, which is at 12 o'clock on Tuesday, October 8th. And then we will have a public open house till 2 o'clock. We plan to close our public health office at 11:30 on Tuesday, and then it'll be closed for the remainder of the week so we can get things moved, and then we will be open for business at the new public health building starting 8 o'clock on October 14th. And then our schedule will continue as always. We have Tuesday immunization clinic, so always encourage people to come in. We're giving COVID and flu shots, so they can make appointments, or we do welcome walk-ins. One of the exciting things is that the Burlington Urban Service will be putting a bus stop right there in front of our building. The bus will go by every 30 minutes. They won't stop necessarily, it won't be a stop, but if someone needs to get off or someone needs to get on, they will stop for that. So if someone's waiting there, so that will make that accessibility a little easier for everyone. So it's very exciting. It's gonna be a good week next week.
Chris, when you said you're gonna close, are you still gonna do the home health stuff?
Yes, thank you for bringing that up. Yes, we are gonna do our home health visits. It's just, we're closing the office because there'll be so many moving parts. We'll be trying to move vaccines, getting the refrigerators moved, those kind of things. But yes, nursing visits, home health visits will be just as they're scheduled.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Krista. Ryan Carter, Secondary Roads.
Good morning. Along the lines of what Jared mentioned on DOT project, initially I'll mention that the DOT bid a week or two ago, I lost track,
the bypass, concrete portion, grading, and anything that goes with it in Mediapolis. That did go up for bid here in September, and PCI was the low bidder, which is really the dirt contractor, and there's obviously a lot of paving on that. I've heard through the rumor mill that Manats might be their sub for doing the paving, but I don't know that firsthand, so we'll know more on that. Takes a month and a half to get all the paperwork and the contracts done, so a lot of public stuff will come along, but that was a shade over 20 million for that project. So just a heads up that that's coming along. I think their late start date is next April. And I believe they've got approximately 2 years worth of working days. I don't think it's a 2-year-long project if the contractor gets in and the weather works and all that sort of stuff, but that's neither here nor there. But part of that, just as a reminder, is Mediapolis Road from the interchange into Mediapolis. That will all get reconstructed as part of that project. That was part of our negotiations with the DOT many years ago at this point. And then eventually, as part of that, going north out of Mediapolis there, eventually that road will be severed, and there'll be a curve there if you go where the old highway is, and then if you know where 235th is, which is kind of the north way into the school, that will no longer connect to the 4-lane eventually. That'll just be a loop there that connect those two roads up, so a curve. So anyway, that's all kind of down the road, but it is work that's gonna come along. And then also as part of that overall project, towards the tail end, they will close off the gypsum plant road, and that traffic will use, the Iowa City Road gypsum plant loop to get to the interchange. And that, there have been near miss after near miss for years and years and years at that. I'm amazed that there aren't more, honestly, fatalities in that location. And they were concerned about that with the traffic speeds going up, obviously, as the bypass gets done and the road opens to 4-lane through that area. So that's a safety decision on there. We did get some money from them to help pay for the Iowa City Road paving as part of that decision. So anyway, just some down the road things, but that is progress. And obviously they have a lot more work to do to get on up to Wapello, get around Wapello and all of that. But so anyway. And then as far as county stuff goes, both of our bridges are still moving. The railings are poured on both of them. In fact, the Highway 99 one, all concrete work is done except for the 2 bridge approaches. And they're gonna start working on those this week. I don't know if they'll get either one of them poured. Hopefully they'll get the north one poured perhaps this week, but we'll see on that. On the Upper Flint Bridge, they still got all 4 corners they need to pour a little bit of concrete on. And then the same thing, both contractors are trying to get rid of all their forms and false work and all that and get out of the way so the dirt contractor can get in there and do their shaking and rip wrap and again pour the approaches. So we're really in the latter stages of both those projects, which, as Tom's mentioned relating to public health, feels like the slowest part of the entire project. Once you've got a building or a bridge, in this case, standing there, it seems awfully frustrating that it doesn't just snap your fingers, but they're getting closer. So anyway, and we are handling to save money on those, since those were ARPA projects and local money and everything else. We're handling the kind of the final seating and everything on those projects ourselves in-house to save money on that. So the guys have already been up to one corner of the bridge on Highway 99 that they had ready and seated that down. So progress on those, good progress in my opinion. We're obviously a little behind where I had hoped all along, but hopefully we have a big next couple weeks and see those bridges get even closer. Yeah, other than that, plenty of stuff going on. We're going to start doing some work on a bridge on Beaverdale Road just north of West Burlington. So if you hear of anything like a 1-lane closure kind of a thing, there's no room to work there. So my guess is we'll be closing 1 lane just to have somewhere to even park for that matter. So, but our crews are still moving and still moving along.
Thank you, Brian. Correspondence, did either of you gentlemen have any correspondence?
I have none.
I have none. We'll proceed to discussion and vote. We have accounts payable claims in the amount of $1,997,536.42.
Motion to approve.
Second?
Cheryl?
Shane McCampbell.
Yes.
Jim Carrey.
Yes.
Tom Broker.
Yes. We have payroll reimbursement claims in the amount of $449.47.
Move to approve?
Second.
Cheryl?
Jim Carrey.
Yes.
Shane McCampbell.
Yes.
Tom Broker.
Yes. We have a request for suspension of taxes for parcel 10-36-126-005. I'll bet that Janelle's familiar with this.
Suspension of taxes, yeah.
Yeah.
It just, makes it so that, interest doesn't accrue and it can't go to tax sale, but eventually those taxes will need to be paid when it's sold.
When it's sold or the homeowner becomes able to pay it.
Exactly.
Okay, thank you. I'm cutting down on words from the last one.
Okay.
So I apologize. Okay, we have a request for
Move to
suspension of
approve.
taxes.
I'll second.
Cheryl?
Jim Carrey.
Yes.
Shane McCampbell.
Yes.
Tom Broker.
Yes. We have a request for release of property taxes for parcel 06-32-300-005, and I suspect Mr. Lee can speak to this.
Yeah, so this would have been done through Jeff. It's a procedural thing we have to do when we acquire properties.
The additional land you got for the Hickory Board Conservation Area. Thank you, Chris.
I move to approve.
Second?
Cheryl?
Shane McCampbell.
Yes.
Jim Carrey.
Yes.
Tom Broker.
Yes. We have approval of memorandum of understanding with the city of Danville for that asphalt overlay. I suspect Mr. Carter can speak to this.
Yeah, I think everybody is very much aware of what we're working on here, but this is kind of the culmination. Thank you to Danville for moving this along, and I think this is a good partnership. You should see something similar to this come along from the city of Burlington. I guess I'll reach out to them and see where that's at, because they've had it for a little bit. But I guess the real boiled down summary of this is when we do our asphalt job, which we'll bid in January, when we do that, Danville requested us to go straight through Danville, which makes sense. We're doing Highway 34 and it obviously runs through Danville. So we'll continue the work. They'll reimburse us for construction material expenses in the city. So it's a pretty good way for them to get the road dressed up a little bit, save a little money, because obviously our bid will be a fairly large bid, so whatever that bid price is, it'll be better than if you just did it isolated. So we try to work with our small communities or our communities in general whenever we can, and this is a good way to do that. So, and this understanding is simply just spelling out that we're not gonna bill them for a bunch of random stuff. They'll only have to pay for the construction stuff, and we'll do the work, we'll handle it. So that's all this is. They've already approved it, and I would recommend approval.
Move to approve, and I wanna thank the board of Danville too, because that's where my tax dollars come from, go to.
I'll second.
Cheryl?
Jim Carrey.
Yes.
Shane McCampbell.
Yes.
Tom Broker.
Yes.
I was at the council meeting quite some time ago and recommended they raise yours, but they said that wasn't their choice, so.
I think they thought about it, 'cause I went up and talked to Matt about it. I do like the idea though, it's gonna be a turn lane in the center now.
Oh, is that what?
That's what they're gonna do, is just have one lane each way and then put a turn lane in there.
All right. I need to make sure that that concept made it into our plans, but if it didn't, we'll just adjust with the contractor when we're doing it. I'm glad you said something, because I think they mentioned it to me in passing, but I don't think I ever realized that they made a decision, so no big deal.
That's how they presented it. They applied for the regional STBG money as a standalone a few years ago, and that's how it was presented.
I'll just double check.
We have personnel actions, we have one for public health. Melinda Morris, CNA, unpaid time off of 13.22 hours on September 25th and 26th.
Motion to approve.
Second?
Cheryl?
Shane McCampbell,
Yes.
Jim Carrey,
Yes.
Tom Broker.
Yes. And we have a couple for conservation. Let me peel off here. We have Derek Hester, Conservation Tech, an 18-month step increase. Previous rate was $44,640.96. The new rate is $45,864. And Jacqueline Goodman, naturalist, a 6-month step increase. Previous rate was $41,583.36. The new rate is $42,806.40.
Motion approved both.
Second.
Cheryl?
Jim Carrey,
Yes.
Shane McCampbell.
Yes.
Tom Broker.
Yes. And we have two for the correctional center. Angela Cooey, Cooey, 18.81 unpaid hours. Angela's correctional officer. And Kenyatta Rooks, a correctional officer. FEMA, unpaid hours of 73.3 hours.
Motion to approve both.
Second?
Cheryl?
Shane McCampbell.
Yes.
Jim Carrey.
Yes.
Tom Broker.
Yes. We have reports. We have the Veterans Affairs Monthly Report for August 2024. In September 2024, we have the Treasurer's cash on hand and the Treasurer's semi-annual report from June 2024. These reports will be on file in the auditor's office and available for public review at your convenience. We have the minutes for the regular meeting of September 24th, 2024.
Motion to approve minutes.
Second?
Cheryl?
Shane McCampbell.
Yes.
Jim Carrey.
Yes.
Tom Broker.
Yes. Any other business? Future agenda items. Committee reports.
I had none.
I have none. Public input. Anybody from the public has a comment or question, you may email the Board of Supervisors at board@dmcounty.com. That's BOARD@dmcounty.com. Or you can call 319-753-8203 extension 4. That's 319-753-8203, extension 4. We will give you 2 minutes to initiate that email or call. In the meantime, does anybody in attendance have any comments or questions?
I'm wondering if there's any insight on the impact of the local option sales tax that potential franchise be in Burlington.
The loss to the county, Des Moines County, will be, just a guess, because it's an estimate, I'm gonna guess it'd be $145,000, we're not sure public health, so maybe 145, maybe $150,000. It would increase the taxes we pay by, the way I understand it now, they're talking about 3% the first year, 4% the second year, and 5% the third year, bang, bang, bang. So it would start out somewhere around $7,500. I'm gonna guess that we would have to pay an additional fees and then go up from there.
So that 150,000, that would be,
That's what we would get in local option sales taxes from those that would go away. And the biggest question there is secondary roads gets 50% of those, so let's say $75,000. I don't know how you can replace that. There's state limits on how much money can be diverted from general basic, or go from general basic and rural basic to secondary roads. Rural taxpayers, it's about $3 on that 361 levy, and all county taxpayers, it's about 16 cents on the general basic levy. And we can't give any more money to secondary roads. There isn't a way for us to replace that. It's it has to go, it has to be used for, I don't care about his opinion. Anyway, but that money's earmarked for equipment and project. Weigh me down if I get this wrong. Is earmarked for equipment and projects, but as we all know, money's fungible. So if we have to spend that money on projects, or it would come out of the regular budget, which is maintenance, that sort of thing. And I truly do not know of another way to come up with $75,000 a year for secondary roads. I think that would just change his budget going forward. Anyway, so I suppose if it goes up 3%, $2,500. So I suppose the second year it would be $10,000 in extra taxes for it, and the third year $12,500, which is really back in the envelope calculations, or actually back of the palm. But so yeah, it will hit us.
okay.
Anybody got a yes or no question? I think our duck went off, so, and I were adjourned. Y'all have a great day.
That duck belongs to
So,
her.